Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is Nithya Thadani, CEO of Rain, to discuss how Rain is teaming up with Stanley Black Decker to create voice technology for the construction industry. Nithya, it's great to see you. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Thank you so much. It's good to see you as well.
Let's start with a brief overview of Rain and what compelled you to get into voice tech and AI.
Absolutely. So Rain is a conversational AI company that builds voice assistant experiences for large enterprises. So we work with companies like Starbucks, Nike, BlackRock, Nestle, and we really help them design and build conversational technologies to drive business value and engage with consumers. So we've built more than 70 custom voice experiences for companies, and our portfolio averages about 15 million user interactions per month.
What market trends do you see in the conversational AI space that led Rain to this opportunity with Stanley Black Decker?
Sure. It's honestly been incredible to have kind of a front row seat to everything that's been happening in the voice space over the past few years. There are really two trends that we've been seeing. The first is a shift to custom or brand-owned assistants. So you can think of this as Bank of America's Erica Assistant, Mercedes has one as well, Walmart has Ask Sam. And this is really an evolution from recent years when brands were mostly focused on having a presence on big tech platforms like Alexa and Google Assistant. So they're building their own assistants that live in their own channels. It gives them greater control of their data and the user experience, which for me really shows just a maturation of the voice market that brands are now willing to invest in this. The second trend that we're seeing, and one that has led to Rain's focus, is a rise in enterprise or employee-facing voice solutions. So we all tend to think about voice as a consumer solution because of the smart speakers in our homes, but that consumerization and adoption of voice has really opened up an opportunity in the workplace. So voice is now being tapped to increase worker productivity across a range of fields, everything from retail associates to healthcare professionals. And actually half of manufacturing companies are increasing their investment in voice over the next couple of years. So those two trends together have really led us to why we are now building tools for workers.
What's the need for voice tech for the deskless worker, and what are the types of voice solutions being built to support their needs?
Sure. So very early on, Rain saw an opportunity to build voice AI solutions for this audience called the deskless workforce. So these are essentially skilled workers that, very literally don't sit at a desk every day. They work in industries like agriculture, healthcare, manufacturing, transportation, and they actually make up 80% of the global workforce, but they have been drastically underserved by technology. That's something that has been really emphasized during this pandemic. To put into context what the experience is like for them, I don't know if you've ever tried to make a call from a ski lift while you have your gloves on and you're kind of balancing poles between your legs, or tried to reroute Google Maps while you're driving. That is more or less the technology experience that exists for these workers. They are juggling devices, they're trying to read very small text on phones, and they're wearing gloves and specialized gear. So it's not easy. What Rain is doing is building voice assistant productivity tools that are purpose-built to make these workers smarter, more efficient, and safer through assistive AI. And when you think about it, voice makes so much sense here because it actually excels in situations where your hands and your eyes are tied up. So being able to just utter a sentence is so much easier than navigating a menu bar or a keyboard. So it's been an obvious fit for this deskless worker.
What sets the Rain product apart? Why can't I just ask the Apple Assistant? I don't want to do it out loud, or else my watch and my phone's going to go crazy. But what sets the Rain product apart for this specific area within the market?
It's a great question. So surprisingly, there aren't a lot of solutions out there that are targeted toward deskless workers, and especially those who are out in the field getting their hands dirty. A lot of the software that does exist is kind of for the back office or C-suite, and it's not kind of accessible to those out in the fields. Of the software that does exist for them, it isn't really being adopted because it's not purpose-built for these workers' needs. So you can't take a very specialized trade professional and just throw general purpose solutions out there, which is more or less what exists today. So you can't ask Alexa or Google Assistant, to your point, some of these very specific trade questions, which is why what we're building is so different. We're really taking into account the unique needs of these users and spending time building a voice experience and user experience that they're going to actually want to engage with. And I'll just give you a quick example. We're thinking about how our voice assistant will actually interpret a worker's industry-specific jargon. We want that to happen in the same way that professionals converse with one another out in the field on a highly specialized topic. To do that well really requires training. We at Rain have been honing this model in a lot of the voice UX work we do within specific industries for a number of years now.
And to wrap up, tell us about the recent Series A round led by Stanley Ventures, and what were some of the challenges fundraising during the pandemic?
Sure. So I would say that fundraising during the pandemic was both challenging and rewarding. It was a great feeling to have accomplished something so positive for our company this year. Despite the state of things, companies are investing in new businesses and spaces that have compelling long-term potential, and that's kind of a trend that we saw. When it comes to the challenges, like with most relationships in 2020, meeting investors for the first time virtually obviously is not ideal. It's simply just not the same as a face-to-face coffee or a drink where you can get to know someone. But on the flip side, I actually found that investors were more available this year because of that very reality. So rather than being at a conference or on a plane to SF, many investors were hunkered down like everyone else. So that made it easier for us to get on their calendars and really move quickly through this process. We are very excited to have found strong partners who are investing in innovation even through these difficult times.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Congratulations on all the success this year. Nithya, great to see you, and thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. And for joining me, I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thank you so much.